and welcome to another episode of Frightfully Forgotten Horror Movies. It's one of our favorites.
I'd probably say one of our favorite horror movies of all time.
Yeah. 1987's Prince of Darkness. And as you can see, yes, that's my poster that I got from Value Village for $1.99.
And I am so jealous. So fucking jealous of this poster, and that's all I'm going to say.
$1.99. Yep. This is a John Carpenter classic, and it's a follow-up to what was supposed to be a big budget smash, which is probably our favorite movie of all time, I think.
Yeah.
I know it's mine. Big Trouble in Little China. It bombed at the box office. It had a $25 million budget, and they only made about $11 million back. So that's kind of what prompted John Carpenter to leave the big glitzy glam Hollywood stuff behind. Prince of Darkness is $3 million budget. Well, it made money. It made 14, 15 million, something like that.
Yeah. Well, the critics didn't like this movie either.
Yeah, they always have. No. They never like anything.
No,
critics.
fuck them.
The movie stars, again, probably one of our favorite actors, in the horror movie genre anyways, Donald Pleasance. He was in tons of John Carpenter movies.
Well, of course, Halloween. He's gone.
He's gone from here. He was in Escape from New York.
Yeah.
You're the Duke!
You're a number one.
That wig. He's great for little stuff like that. It stars Dennis Dunn, who was also in Big Trouble in Little China. He was also in a movie called Last Emperor. Victor Wong's in it, and he was in Big Trouble in Little China. And he was also in, if you grew up in the 90s, the early 90s, he was in The Three Ninjas. Jameson Parker is also in this. None of you really know who that is. He was... when I was a kid, it was kind of one of my favorite cop shows, Simon and Simon. Huge 80s, sort of like a porn star mustache.
Porn star stash.
This movie was written and directed by John Carpenter. He credits the writing side of it to Martin Quatermass.
The movie starts off, first of all, the music during this part is some of my favorite musical scores by John Carpenter ever. This really old priest shows him basically dying. He's on his deathbed and he's holding this...
kind of like a gilded box.
Yeah, like a little box. Donald Pleasance, I guess he comes in, he's a fellow priest, and he comes to, collect his things and such, and in this little box he finds this key. And he takes this key to the church where the priest resides, and goes to the basement and opens up this locked door. And basically he finds this big, huge, giant container full of this green liquid.
Yeah, which is swirling around.
Swirling around. And in front of it is this big, huge, thick text which describes everything about this container. The priest who just died is part of a brotherhood called the Brotherhood of Sleep, who have been guarding this container for centuries. Yeah. The priest character, he doesn't have a name, he's credited as priest.
Who's Donald Pleasance?
Donald Pleasance. He hires Professor Burak, played by Victor Wong, and his team to scientifically study what this container is, and as well as decipher the text. And through that, they carbon date it to find out this thing is like super, super old. Start finding out there's an organism, a being, growing inside this container.
Yeah.
And it's also starting to gain consciousness. Telekinetic, it can make things move. And now it also starts possessing members of the research team.
Yeah. And also members of the outside world.
Yeah, which are mostly homeless people or schizophrenic who are kind of mentally unstable and easily influenced.
Yeah.
And one of them is Alice Cooper.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I wore the shirt today.
Yeah.
So.
Find out that what's in the container is the Antichrist.
Yeah, the story gets a little wild here.
Yeah,
too.
it gets pretty wild, and it's really up for interpretation, is what I like about the movie. And I guess he's going to be reborn and bring his father back into the world.
So you could take that any which way, I guess. I mean, if you want to think of him as the devil, fine. If not, he's an alien...
or anti-god.
Anti-god, whatever the case may be. He's a bad dude.
Yeah, with a big fucking hand.
Yeah. Members of the team start to kind of fall asleep, and they start to have dreams.
The same dream.
Yeah, and all the same dream, and that kind of plays in with the Brotherhood of Sleep, which anybody in the same proximity starts to have the same dream. And these dreams are kind of like an omen. They start to see a possible future of what could happen if this thing wakes up
And they don't stop it.
Yeah, and they don't stop it. Yeah.
Near the end, like the last act,
up.
when it really picks up,
Yep.
The music starts to really drive it, and
Yep.
and there's lots of action. And we were talking favorite parts when Dennis Dunn's character gets
Right.
trapped in that closet, and they got to dig him out.
Yep.
Before the possessed woman, who's now, I guess she's possessed by the Antichrist.
Yep.
Gets him, and she almost does.
Almost gets pretty close.
Again, the makeup's pretty cool.
Yeah, she looks kind of all burned up, kind of like a Freddy Krueger sort of
so
deal,
melted.
but better.
Yeah.
I like the part right after that when they just throw the other woman right out the window.
You
So
be like
easy.
backdrops her out the window.
Yeah. So, what are some of your favorite parts of the movie?
The whole movie is my favorite
Yeah,
part. Really,
it's-
like I love this movie so much. From the front to back, it's great. I want to mention a part that's actually not my favorite. I think it kind of takes away from the movie a little bit, but it's still worth mentioning because it's funny. Is there's a character named Wyndham,
Yeah, and he's kind of like a cheap '80s guy.
shitty '80s guy with a skullet, and I don't know why they wrote it this way, but instead of using the word like bullshit,
Yeah.
caca. Come on, guys, this is caca. Then he says it again.
Yeah.
Caca. Like, what's the rating of this movie? It's rated R, so
Rated
it's not
R.
like they're trying to go with a PG rating or anything. The music is another favorite part of mine.
Definitely.
I think it's one of John Carpenter's best efforts.
Yeah, as for the horror.
Yeah, for the horror genre as far as
yeah.
atmosphere goes. It's got a great theme to it.
Yeah.
It adds to the movie and complements the movie so much.
It complements every scene.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what a score should do for a horror movie.
One thing I like about the movie too is when Donald Pleasance starts to kind of doubt his own faith a bit,
Right.
and because he starts to realize everything he's led to believe is not quite true.
But he was our prisoner, not yours.
And, we were salesmen. We sold our product to those who didn't have it.
Yeah.
I like that part because that's a good way to sum up religion.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I like Victor Wong in that scene too.
Yeah.
The outside world doesn't want to hear this kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Just keep it locked away.
So even he knows that though it can be scientifically proven that you may not want to tell everybody about this.
It's true because it could cause a bit of havoc, right?
Mass hysteria.
Yep.
The Antichrist is being born as we speak, and we can scientifically prove it.
Yeah. What's scarier than that? I do like when Wyndham's dead after. Not the fact that he's dead, but they show him, and he looks actually very scary.
Yeah.
And his voice sounds scary too. And
I have a message for you.
Yeah, and you're not going to like it.
And he turns into a bunch of bugs.
Yeah, he just kind of collapses on himself. When one of the possessed women outside the church kind of goes up to him and sort of grabs his hand and puts it to her face and, "You're so wonderful. What you doing for the
And
church?"
she's like this old bum.
Yeah, and she has like maggots in her coffee cup. And then the scene after, they show Donald Pleasance kind of coming into the church and he's just looking at his hand like
touch this old woman.
Something's on his hand.
It leaves a lot to your own interpretation. It doesn't spell it all out for you, but it gives you enough where you can walk away from the movie with your own interpretation of what exactly everything means.
Yeah, and it's not...
But it's not so vague where you're completely clueless.
And it's not like... There's no attack on religion or anything like that with this movie.
No, not at all.
It's pure fiction.
It's kind of neat where they're almost like it's about religion or faith and science working together against the common enemy.
Yeah, instead of always working against each other, it seems, in real life.
I think that's kind of what the movie boils down to, is that teaming of religion and science against a common goal.
So who would you recommend this movie to?
Anyone who likes, I guess, possession-type movies or religious-based movies, because this does have a lot to do with, faith.
Yeah.
So if you're into maybe like a movie like Stigmata, or even like something as simple as The Exorcist or The Omen.
The Omen, I was going to say.
Yeah, movies like that, or any John Carpenter movie.
Yeah, just because it's a John Carpenter movie. Yeah. If you haven't seen it yet, put it at the top of your list, I think, because it's a pretty wild ride. And it has probably one of the best cliffhanger endings.
Because we stopped it here.
We stopped it here. Donald...
Benedicto! Please go check out Prince of Darkness.
Yeah, you won't be disappointed.
You better not be, or else you're not our friend.